So my name's Regan-Addis, and I'm from Manchester in the United Kingdom, and I'm a director of the Mindfulness Association and one of the founders of the Mindfulness Association. I teach mindfulness, that's my job. It's the best job in the world. I'm very happy to do it, and I oversee the day-to-day running of the Mindfulness Association. I work on the master's programme with the University of Aberdeen in studies in mindfulness, and one of my main focus is training mindfulness teachers.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Heather. What are some of the benefits of practicing mindfulness?
So one of the main benefits in practicing mindfulness is that we become less reactive. So things that previously would annoy us or trigger us into a reaction maybe of anger or of stress, we're able to just find a space and maybe take a few mindful breaths and find the resources maybe to do something different. So that's one of the main benefits. When we're not mindful, we tend to be thinking about the future, so worrying about the future, or ruminating about the same thing over and over again, or going over situations in the past to try and find some kind of solution. And the things that we tend to think about are often quite negative, which can make us feel quite miserable. So by being in the present moment, which is the key skill in mindfulness, we're not thinking about the future or worrying about the future, and we're not ruminating about what's happened in the past or worrying about that. So that kind of thinking activity that causes us to suffer becomes less and less, and we can be more present in the present moment and less stressed.
How do you see people change during the course?
Okay, so one of the main changes that I see is often when people arrive at the course for the first session, their faces are kind of quite like this, and they feel like they've got really heavy weights on their shoulders. And then when they leave at the end of the course, their faces are more open, and it feels like a weight has been lifted from them. So generally they feel more happier, more content. And one of the main shifts that we see is that in our society, most people are very hard on themselves. You know, they criticise themselves all the time, and they give themselves a very hard time, which causes a lot of stress and suffering. So we try to work with that habit and cultivate a new one of self-kindness and acceptance of our experience. And so people become naturally happier, kinder towards themselves, and therefore kinder to the people around them. So I think that's probably the main changes that we see. People less stressed, people more happy. People make life decisions to live their life in a way that's more wholesome for them. So they might cut out some of their activities that they do and put in new activities that support them in a flourishing lifestyle.
What is unique about the Mindfulness Association courses compared to other mindfulness courses?
Okay, so one thing that's unique about the Mindfulness Association courses is that they were developed by a teacher called Rob Nairn, who's been working with Westerners teaching them meditation for 40 years. So he's developed a very structured way of approaching the mind and training in mindfulness that helps us to avoid some of the main obstacles that people have normally in their meditation practice. So it's very much a step-by-step process of understanding how our minds work and how we can work more skillfully with the mind. Another difference is that we have loving kindness and compassion practice in our mindfulness course right from the beginning. So we start to look at memories of kindness, when we were kind to somebody else, when somebody was kind to us, and when we were kind to ourselves. And we start cultivating kindness for others and kindness for ourselves. And that's very transformative. And that's not present in the other mindfulness courses in such a strong way. The other thing we do is we work with a model of mind called the observer and undercurrent model. So we look at how our thoughts arise in the mind spontaneously or by themselves, and how also we're able to sit back and observe the activity within the mind, to observe the thoughts arising. And we also learn that the thinking activity that's happening in the mind happens all by itself and we can't change it by direct intervention. So we learn to relate to our inner experience in a more skillful way. So these are all quite unique aspects of the Mindfulness Association's training.
Thank you very much, Heather.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Bye.
Thank you.